Hi, I'm Ricardo from JC Excavations. I'll be going through the basic operations for our Caterpillar dump trucks. This, for example, is a 740B Ejector dump truck. We're going to start on the front left-hand corner of the truck, checking underneath the truck for leaks, obvious signs of leaks and oil patches on the ground, checking the tyres, making sure no obvious signs of cuts, tyre pressures with the weight of the truck on there, the bulge, the suspension, making sure it's the same on both sides, and every day has to be the same. Moving around to the corner, 3 points of contact as you climb up for the cabin, checking this articulation corner, looking around the cylinder area, checking our grease nipples. This has an auto greaser, as you can see the lines here. The auto greaser pods on the right-hand side of the front of the truck. As we go around the truck, we're checking those hydraulic lines. We're looking around the ejector cylinder, the ejector body, the ejector grease nipples for the rollers are very important. We can't miss them. Working our way around, we're looking underneath the suspension as well, the A-frame, the rear tyres, checking cuts inside of those walls of those tyres as well. Stick your head in, go around there, look at the body, top rollers. On the ejectors as well, we've got these dangling lines there for the top rollers. Don't forget those grease lines there as well. Pulling around back to the side, suspension buffers in the centre. We're looking, making sure that there's no obvious signs of wear. Checking tyres, checking wheel nut studs, diffs. Anything that shows obvious leaks and around to the back. Checking around here, you've got grease nipples on the cylinders. There is hydraulic cylinders for these tailgates underneath here. Around, grease nipples on the hinge pins, your lights, your reverse squawker, your reverse camera on the back of the trucks. Also, you're checking the inside of these tyres. Like I've said on previous videos, elephant's feet, making sure you're checking those rubber buffers. Back dog bone bar there, checking those rubber buffers. Inside the tyres again. Look at tyre pressures. You'll know more with these tyre pressures once the truck is loaded. You'll see bulges, but also check them in the morning when you're not loaded so you know you're pre-ready for start. So we're down to the right-hand side of the truck, starting at the back. Look at tyres, small cuts. Make sure you're checking them. They're not that deep. They're okay. Move on. Checking tyre pressures again on this side. Same thing, rubber buffers, making sure you're checking everything. Checking inside these tyres, cuts, looking along the body, looking at anything that's unusual, making sure there's no damages. Make sure the excavators don't accidentally hit your truck. Make sure you're aware of them, report them if they do. Looking around, wheel chocks on the side, more wheels to grease on the ejector bodies. Inside, make sure you got those side of the wheels on those ejector bodies as well. Both sides have them. Don't forget them. They're very important. Checking your locks on the door right above here. Making sure those rubber buffers are intact. Following around, grease lines again on this side of the articulation joint. Steps, make sure they're clean for your access so you can safely get up there. Moving around to the front tyre, making sure you're checking these front tyres. They're very important. And we're here inside the shed because it's raining. Perfect conditions, flat. You can check the suspensions on the both sides are exactly the same. You've got your grease pod, like I said before. Make sure that's topped up. There's a grease nipple on there to top it up. The grease gun should be inside the cab of the truck. Don't forget it. Maintain it. Ask our mechanics if you do need a grease gun to top it up. We're happy to help you out. Fuel tank, make sure the lid's done up properly. Some of those refuelers do forget to put them back on. It's at ground level. E-stop inside here. Make sure you're aware where your re-stops are. There's one on the right-hand side. There's one inside the cab. There could be one on the other side. Move around the front. You're checking underneath. As I said before, quite easily see any ground leaks on the ground. So once you've done your external ground checks, straight to the isolation switch, front left-hand corner. You're going through. This one here's got the starter isolator and the battery isolator on. I've already turned it on, but it's a large style, so just turn them on. So when you access the cabin, you can open up the bonnet and you've got power. While you're here, you're checking the hydraulic tank. This one is over full, but just be mindful that that level could change. It's not started and running, so it's on the gauge. As long as it's on the gauge, I'm happy. But when you start it, check it while you're running in the first hour or 2 hours. Checking the engine oil, dipstick. Right there, full. Now checking the transmission oil. It has a safe cold start on the dipstick, so we just want to make sure the oil level is there for a safe cold start. Once you're up in the cab, turn the reds on, adjust your steering wheel to your telescopic length, your drivability, so you're comfortable. You're checking through your gauges, making sure all your gauges are working, full of fuel. This is the 740B Ejector dump truck screen. All the information's there that you need. Temperatures, settings, everything's in there. Go in the screen. Go to your diagnostics in the service side of things. If you need to give the information to the mechanics for error codes, it's all in there. You can't affect the machine by changing anything in this screen. This is an ejector dump truck control. At the moment, I've got a bin hold. Once you start the truck in bin hold, you move it into bin float so you can drive off and it will change up gears. E-stop is located just behind that joystick. Make yourself aware where the E-stops are. There's always one inside the cabin and there's always one outside on the ground level. UHF radio just behind it. Choose your channel. Make sure you're talking very clearly on these UHF. So this is the seat switch on these. Pushing it in. Take the pressure off the seat to let it pump up to the right setting. Make sure you don't over pump or overinflate these seats so you don't break it. With the bin control in the bin hold position, you are ready to start. Turn the key to reds. Wait for your instruments to finish doing what it's doing. Then start. The park brake button's on the side here, 2-stage switch. Press that forward, push it down, park brakes off. Ejector control, we're ready to tip off the material. So we're going to pull back and then we're going to be looking at the bin retract. Once you pull them back, the door's going to start retracting backwards. And you can see in your mirrors the door sliding backwards for the ejector. Once the ejector door has reached the end, the tailgate will drop down automatically to finish off tipping off the load. Once you're finished tipping off, move the joystick forward that one click and start driving. The door will automatically retract while you're driving. Once you're finished for the day, don't forget the battery isolator. Don't want the battery to drain unnecessarily. Go here, turn it off. There's no AdBlue in these 40-ton dump trucks, so you don't have to worry about the AdBlue light, but be mindful on the 30-ton dump trucks.